Now to the U.S. Supreme Court and the final landmark decisions for the 2025-2026 term. The justices upheld state laws to ban transgender athletes in girls' sports. They rejected President Donald Trump's executive order to end citizenship at birth for those born on U.S. soil and struck down long-standing campaign finance restrictions.
Our Conan Nolan has been following these decisions very closely, joining us in studio. Conan, let's begin with birthright citizenship. Big loss for the Trump administration on this one.
Yeah, so it's both the law and it's in the Constitution. And the Supreme Court said the president violated both. 6-3, he violated the U.S. law, which said you have birthright citizenship. 5-4, you violated the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Any person born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof is a citizen of the United States and the state in which they reside. So this is bad news. The president, I kind of think, knew this was coming. He tweeted earlier that he anticipated this a little bit. For those who believe we can revisit this, not a chance. This is the court, by this 5-4, it was close, said it is in the Constitution. You want to change the Constitution? Go ahead. 2/3 vote in the House and the Senate. 3/4 of all the states have to ratify it. That's not happening.
And then, of course, the Supreme Court upholding the ban on trans athletes in sports. A lot of criticism here. But let's talk about the impact. I mean, as of right now, California is not impacted. However, could that change?
It could change. But that was sort of a states' rights argument, essentially, a decision. It's up to the state. Was it illegal for West Virginia as well as for Idaho to make it illegal for undocumented, for those who are trans girls to participate in women's sports? No, it wasn't illegal. It was within their right to do it. It doesn't impact California.
Yeah.
Last one. This one kind of flew under the radar. The court blocking finance restrictions for presidential candidates.
Right. So this actually has a nexus with this station and all other TV stations.
How so?
Well, because there used to be a prohibition up until this court ruling where political parties couldn't buy TV ads on behalf of you, the candidate. There had to be a separation, and there was limits as to what the political party could do. If you buy an ad, you get the cheap rate on TV stations across. The FCC requires that we sell that rate at the cheapest rate, that at ad time. Well, now the Republican National Committee, which has hundreds of millions of dollars, they can buy those commercials at that very low rate on behalf of every candidate. And that is that's a huge advantage to them because they have far more money than the Democrats have. But that is really the nuts and bolts of this decision. It eliminates the regulations that kept the parties from essentially buying advertisement directly for a candidate.
So this could have a big impact on elections.
It could, and it's going to help the Republicans because they just have more money. And I can guarantee you, they're on the phone right now with donors because this is going to impact the midterms.
Conan,
of course. And,
thank you.
And then, of course, President Donald Trump saying that this was a victory for the administration.
It was a big victory for him because he's hoping his numbers are in the toilet, and so he's hoping this money and the ad buys that they're going to get out of this is going to help turn things around.
Many immigrant communities called today's Supreme Court decision upholding birthright citizenship a crucial victory, but concerns still remain just about how permanent this ruling will be. NBC4's Keenan Willard is in Westlake talking to immigrant mothers today about what this decision means to them. Keenan.
Yeah, Jonathan, we're hearing a lot of relief. As you can imagine, this is a landmark ruling that for many people allays some fears that they've had for over a year in the immigrant community here in Southern California and across the country in the wake of that decision by the president to pursue limiting birthright citizenship. So with this decision today, there is a sense of calm that has fallen over the immigrant community here in Southern California. But there are also concerns that this debate may not be over just yet. In Westlake, supporters of LA's immigrant communities cheering a landmark decision by the Supreme Court to uphold birthright citizenship.
With this decision, we celebrate an enduring American promise, one that says that every child born on this soil begins life with dignity.
Advocates declaring the court's ruling a victory for immigrant families in Southern California, saying many immigrants have faced doubts about the citizenship status of their future children since the president tried to limit birthright citizenship by executive order last year. Part of what advocates say is a larger pattern of attacks on immigrant communities by the administration.
We are seeing, many of our clients and others in our community are just living in daily fear. It is fear for their children, fear for their elders. Children have fear to go to school.
In diverse communities like Los Angeles, the impacts of immigration policy are personal.
Porque la realidad Yo tengo vecinas.
Sylvia Koss says she has 2 neighbors who are undocumented and pregnant. She says she's cried with her neighbors, wondering what would happen to the rights of their future children.
There is a lot of uncertainty and fear in the Hispanic, actually in the immigrant community.
Cady Rodriguez has 2 children under 4 years old. She says for immigrant families like hers, today's Supreme Court decision brings a sense of stability.
It's something we can celebrate now as immigrant moms, but it also tells me how much we need to keep fighting to defend our rights.
After the Supreme Court's ruling, President Trump said Congress should try to limit birthright citizenship through a new law. Some immigrant families hoping today's victory isn't temporary.
We must never stop demanding justice, equality, due process, and equal protection, and the recognition of and respect for every single person's dignity as a human being. Thank you.
As some advocates in the immigrant community today telling us also the fact that this case made it to the Supreme Court and it was a split decision 5-4, indicating that there was a lot of back and forth on this issue, also makes them afraid of where the conversation's going to go in the future and that this debate could pick up again going forward. For the moment, from Westlake, Keenan, Willard, NBC4 News.